Okay. Peace to the movement. 747 24/7 361 degrees. We are in the place to be. We are logging in at 333. What's up? Coom. What's up? Salutations to the primes. If you in here, state your name, put it in the comment section. You are relevant. Give me probably about 2 more minutes to set the video up, and then we can get the party started. I want to say peace to the collective, peace to the Tawalu. Thank you for everybody that has been supporting peace and love. Peace and love. What's up? Coom. Boom. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. We're going to be going over a couple of things in this discussion today, and I hope you get to really enjoy it for what it's worth. I'm going to talk about the fourfold symmetry of the mind. I will also be talking about the Messiah Code in reference to life, and it is what it is. Like I said, I'm feeling good. We logged in at 333. Today's date in the codex is what? 717 8 717 8 in the codex, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure I'm not mistaken. 717 codex in the codex. 717 8. If I'm wrong, whoever in the Messiah code, y'all can stir me real quick. All good. I got it. What's up? What's up? Who in here? I know it's mid-afternoon. I'm logging in pretty early today. I just felt the Holy Ghost. I felt the Holy Ghost. You want to call it like that, the Holy Spirit. I felt something good in me just to share some information, just to go hard a little bit, and just pass along the energy. Pass along the energy. That's about it. You know, uh, and I'm feeling good. So, coom. Peace to the Oracle in here. Peace to the Oracle. Thank you. Thank you for your attendance. Thank you for everybody that is watching in the YouTube, everybody watching across the Facebook, everybody watching across the universe. All right. So today, like I said, I'm gonna break down the four the it's the fourfold symmetry of the mind. All right. And this is coming from the Messiah Code. This comes from the book called The Messiah Code, Master Key Application 131. Master Key Application 131. So I want to break a couple things down and let me introduce myself to anybody that will be coming in. All right. I am Solar Prime Supreme 131, Lazarus Lamel of the Messiah Code movement. What is a Messiah? A Messiah is a leader or savior of a particular group or a cause. Also, a Messiah is one who is preparated for war. All right. So if I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 31, your birthday or what we call a log date would fall within that number system. And that sequence actually formulates a network, or what we call the body of the returning Messiah. So, my proclamation to everyone is that the Messiah has returned. Many thought the Messiah to return to embody one physical body so you can hunt him down and kill him like Ray Ray in the hood. But that's not the case. When the Messiah returned in these days and times, the Messiah returned as a living network, an embodiment of consciousness that we can tap into. All right. Once we reach a certain level of acceptance, accepting who you are and what your calling is. Now, remember, we were casted in the matrix. We were locked in the matrix. We came from the slave ships and we went into the matrix. All right. And that matrix was symbolic of a womb, a provisionary womb that they gave us. Some say an evil stepmother, an evil stepmother of sort, because again, it's, the womb, the matrix represents a womb. All right. But that wasn't a womb that we were supposed to be tapped into, or we were supposed to literally connect with to tap into our higher selves. So to be born again is to come out the womb, or to come out the matrix. And that's where this journey is leading. Now, I'm not here to present you a blue pill or a red pill. That is not my position. All right. If you paid attention to the riddle, all right, the blue pill was not really for what you thought it was in the movie. The blue pill was for forgetfulness, for one to forget once someone passes along the truth to you, or once someone presents the truth to you. It don't have to be me. It can be anybody. It can be your mom, your father, a preacher, anybody of any persuasion. They could present a truth to you. If you want to forget that truth, you proceed to take the blue pill. All right. And then we have the red pill, and the red pill is for sacrifice. That is just to sacrifice someone of importance, someone who gave you the truth, or someone who is the source of that truth that was given to you. All right. So it is your task to get to the top and take out the person that's in that position if you take that red pill. Now, it's nothing wrong with the colors blue or red. It's what I'm telling you is the negative connotation that is presented in the choice within the matrix. Okay. So it is another choice as well. And that choice so happens to be the purple pill. Now, I told people this. The purple pill is deep because the purple pill is a choice that you didn't really see when you was watching the movie, but the purple pill was there the whole time. All right. Now, again, if you think about this, right? Just me breaking this down real quick. This man in this movie, he ended up sacrificing the only person that he loved in the movie when he took the red pill, which was supposedly for his awakening. If you also look at Cypher in the movie, he took the red pill and he sacrificed the only person he loved, which was Morpheus. All right. And then when you proceed on to the following movie, like I said, you get riches and fame. You get riches and fame if you take the red pill. And what happened to Neo? He was very successful. He was literally a billionaire in the following movie, the fourth installment of The Matrix. All right, because he so happened to take the red pill. And then what did Syph say? He said, "Look, I want to be a movie star if I take the red pill, which is a falling star." All right, and if you go into Hollywood, what you see, a bunch of falling stars that people worship, which is Lucifer. I'm gonna tell you, you are a star. I'm talking about Esther, like Esther, the sacred woman, Esther. But you are a star. You are a rising star. You are not a falling star, Messiah. All right. So we did not take the blue pill or the red pill when we were presented with these choices because we know what they led to. All right. When they gave us that blue pill, it was forgetfulness. It was to forget everything that somebody brought to you when they brought the truth to you. That's what it was for. That red pill was to sacrifice somebody you love or somebody that was the source of that truth. All right. So you chose neither. You chose to not forget, but you chose to forgive. And you chose not to sacrifice others of importance, but you chose to make yourself available for that sacrifice. That's what made you purple or crimson, coming out the fire. Because in order to make a sword, what you need? Fire and ice. All right. And that's what you became. You became that sword. All right. So I want to break it down even further. You got the 1 through 31. That's the body. That's the code. That is the network that we operate on. All right. Nobody takes the number 0. You hear me? Nobody has the number 0 here. Nobody can log in at 0. I'm just telling you. In this matrix, that officially that 0 is the operator in the matrix. Okay. None of us have the number 0, but we have various other numbers. Like, for instance, the broadcast address. We can grab that address, which is the last address in the IPv4 protocol. It's the broadcast address. See, you got the network, which basically nobody can take, but somebody can take the first available address, but nobody can take the broadcast. All right. The broadcast has to be available for everyone to tap into. That's why the Messiah takes the number 31 at the head. And if you go into Gematria, the number 31 is what? El, which means the source, or force of creation. All right. All of these things break down. And when I share these thoughts with you, I share these thoughts for you to connect the dots. And you say, what dots are we talking about? I mean, you can look at them as star constellations, like consonants that you put together to construct words, all right, and make that beginning for your journey. But what I'm saying is that you can take the dots that I'm giving you, because the dots is the thoughts. That's where the word dot comes from, the word thought, which is a deity in ancient Egypt. Thought. All right. So just breaking this stuff down, you got to connect the dots or connect the thoughts. Okay. We're going to connect this up to the 4-part symmetry of the mind. All right. So many of the elders, they told us that the mind, if we breaking down the mind, many of the elders told us that the mind was in 2 parts. It was in 2 parts. It was in the observer and it was in the observer and the thoughts. That's not the case. I want you to think about this when we talking about the mind. Peace up, everybody coming in. Thank you. When we thinking about the mind, it's in 2, because we talking about the 2 hemispheres of the mind, and it is the observer. It is the observer, and it is your thoughts. Think about this, right? For instance, when you're thinking about your mind, you got the observer, and then you got the thoughts. You got somebody observing the thoughts. All right. But what I'm going to tell you is you got 4-part symmetry, because everything folds in itself like a Lego piece. All right. So you would do 2 times 2 if you would form the symmetry or the fractal. You would do 2 times 2 or a variable of it, like a cube of 2 or something like that. So now when you do 2 times 2, you get 4. And 4, what you realize is that you got the observer, you got the thoughts, then you got the will, and then you got reflection. And all of these are the four represent the four-part symmetry of the mind. All right. So now watch this. I'm gonna take you into the Messiah code and into the Messiah code. And this is the four-part symmetry of the mind. And this is what this symbol represents. You see this? This is the tetrahedron. I told you we were stuck in a box. All right. We were literally stuck in a box. And the only way to get out of the box is that you have to literally go to the niche of the box. You have to go to the corner. In the corner, yo, man, I'm breaking all this stuff down to you. If you don't, if you don't believe a lot of the words that I'm saying, do a lot of the research what I'm saying. All right. And just follow the turtle. Don't follow the rabbit. All right. So this is how I broke this stuff down. I said we were trapped in a box, a mental prison, a mental prison. No matter, you can be rich, famous, whatever. You still, all of us that came in the matrix, they put us in a box. All right. Now you have to be very smart to get out of this box. All right. You don't got to be rich. You don't got, like, being rich is not, is not part of conquering the matrix. Let me tell y'all something. Getting out of the box is not being rich. I'm just saying, for a lot of people think, oh man, you mean to tell me when I make it be so successful and rich, I made it out of the box? No. I made it out of the cube? No. I told you it's a mental prison. It is a mental prison that they cast you in. Or they had put us in. All right. So the only way to break out of this cube is that you have to know the structure of the cube and how it operates. You have to know it. You have to know it front and back. You have to know everything around you. You have to know your environment. All right. And I told you this. I said, when you come out of the matrix, where do you go? You go into the book. All right. And that's when you realize life is literally three-dimensional, not just person, places, and things, past, present, and future. No, you have to conquer certain things to make it a certain three-dimensional structure. All right. For instance, like, you have to conquer your area. What is your area? Your area is where you go to and fro. You remember in your job, right? On your job, or in the book of Job, the devil presented himself and he was going to and fro. This is the devil in you, the lower self in you, presenting yourself, because you going to and fro in the earth, traveling, looking for God. And the moment you find God, you try to figure out some things. All right. So that's the to and fro. That's the to and fro. That is two-dimensional. It is 2D, because you moving along the planet. You're moving along the planet, and that is everything you face. And then if you notice a cube, with a cube, the face, the size of a cube is called the face. That is called the face. So in order to change this this structure into a 3D structure, first you have to figure out, you have to conquer that which you face on a day-to-day basis. All right, which is your immediate environment. And then now we moving forward. Let's move it forward, because we want to move up. We moving up. We talking about the height of your reality, the height of your being, the height of your consciousness. What are you willing to endure? All right. This is how you make it a three-dimensional structure, because now it's not 2D. You're not living on a flat earth. You're going up to the height. You're going up to the height. And that height, look at this. Once you take that height, you realize what you can take, what you're willing to endure, how you're willing to take some pain for this, that what you love, what you say is God. Then you're ready to get a volume of your book. You're ready to get a volume. And volume is not just volume how you think of it with a book. Like, let's say we got volumes of books. We got volumes of books. Yes, you got volumes of books of your life. Yes, volumes of books. But it's deeper than that when I say that the area times your height equals the volume of the books that you write when you come out of the matrix. It's deeper than that. It's the volume the frequency that you vibrate on. It's the channel that you vibrate on. It's how you just start to move and how you start to really start feeling that spirit. It start to move within you a certain way. So you start to channel, you start to be on a channel. You hear this? You start to be on a channel, not just you start to channel, you start to be on a channel. You start to channel certain things. So like I said, so if they got us trapped in a literal cube, this is the structure, the cube that they got us in, which is a box, a mental prison. All right, peep game on this. So you try to kick up against the walls, and I broke this stuff down. The walls are the laws, and you can't break the law. You can't break the wall because it's designed for your impact. It's designed for you to kick up against it. So you move up against the angles. You start to pray upwards or in an angular formation. You start to channel this force in an angular formation, all right, which leads you to the angles, because the angles are really the angels. And then the angels speak through light. Light is information, is knowledge. You think the sun is emitting light. What if I tell you that the sun is emitting information, which is knowledge? And that's what happens. The light goes through the prism. The light goes through the prism, which is the angles, which is phonetically angels. And that is what you get at this corner niche. You get this structure right here, which is the tetrahedron. And the tetrahedron, it has 4 faces to it. 4 faces to it. It has 4 points. All right. It has 4 triangles and 4 points. All right. And that's what I said. You're coming out of that and you're coming into a whole nother dimension leading to yourself. All right. Look, check this out. So I'm going to read this a little bit so y'all can get where I'm coming from. So we talk about the 4-part symmetry of the mind. Okay. For anybody that's coming in, thank you. North, east, south, west. Past, present, future, man, woman, and child. It's many other things, but being on that 4 represented also multiplication, division, adding, and subtraction. Okay, these are the 4 cornerstones of your mind. These are the 4 cornerstones of your mind, which equals that cornerstone, which is the tetrahedron. All right, it is the tetrahedron. So now it says the mind is not one voice. It is a cathedral of echoes, chambers of awareness, layered in frequency. What you call thinking is often a byproduct of deeper processes running beneath what? Perception. And I take you back to Proverbs 20:27. The spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, searching all the inward parts of the belly, the inward parts, the hidden parts, because what's in your belly is what's hidden. What they talking about, what's hidden. We're going into the belly, all right, right now. The gut feeling that you feel, all right? So it also says this: to understand the mind, you must first understand its structure. It does not exist in one plane. It operates in a 4-part symmetry: thought, observation, will, and reflection. These are not just functions, they are intelligences. And I took you to Surah Al-Shams. This is in the Quran, 91:7-8. It says, by the soul and the proportion and order given to it, and its enlightenment as to its wrong and its right. So you have discernment with these things. You were given discernment to know how to formulate and utilize the 4-fold symmetry of the mind. All right. Now, when you think of symmetry, I want you to think about things folding in each other like Lego pieces. All right. Everything moving within like a perfect harmony with each other. All right. Moving forward. So it says, In the higher architecture of the code, these four principles manifest as shell, male, cow, and sail. Now, these are also totems of the Tawalu. These are totems of the Tawalu. When we say shell, male, cow, and sail, we talking about the turtle. We talking about the owl. We're talking about the cat, which is cow, and then we talk about sail, which is the fish. So shell represents the turtle, male represents the owl, and then you got cow represents the cat, and then you got sail, which represents the fish. Each one of those presents a certain aspect of a higher intelligence of the fourfold symmetry of the mind. All right. And the shell or the turtle or shell is the great ancestor. It is the oldest ancestor on this earth that connects to our being. All right. If we follow the turtle back and forth from Mother Utla to Mother Africa, or what they call it, whatever you want to call it, we followed the turtle, the four currents back and forth from Mother Utla, or what you call America, to Mother Africa, back and forth. All right. So we always follow this turtle of sort in order to connect up to a higher chain of thought. All right. So you got male, which is the owl. Now it is the nocturnal bird that sees through the darkness of disparity. So what's so unique about the owl? It can turn its head in a 361-degree circle. Okay. Meaning that it can see within itself. It can see within itself, past, present, and future. All right. Then you got cow, which represents the feline. Now, I told people this: the shell or the turtle represents patience. Of course, it represents patience. But a lot of people don't understand. You gotta move like the cat. All right. You got to move like the cat as well, because the turtle teaches us to move with patience, but the cat teaches us to move gracefully when we exercise that patience. All right. So these four totems are very important to the higher awareness of consciousness, but also the fourfold symmetry of the mind is very important for you to conquer the cube in order to get out of the matrix. All right. The real matrix. So, like I said, just for real, nobody has ever presented to you the code, the crack, when we talk about the purple pill. All right. It has been a riddle for over 20 years that has been presented to billions. And no one understood the fact that you were presented with another choice. And that is the choice of the purple pill, to be the willing sacrifice, to be the Messiah in this day and time. All right. Which is a network that we form together as the body. All right. So let me break this down even further. Okay. So when you think of shell is the observer, the one who sees without judgment. Shell records all without becoming attached. Shell is clarity before emotion. Shell is awareness before definition. Without shell, there is no discernment, only reaction. And I took you to Matthew 6:22. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. All right. So shell is very important for you to break out of this prison. This is a mental prison that they got us in. This is what I tell you: hell in the cell, jail in the cell. This right here. What you think is your cell is really a cell. It's really a cell. You said, man, I got cells on my body. No, that is a cell right there. That is a jail cell that we got to break out of, the mental prison. Okay. And if you see this box, it has 12 lines associated to create it. And those are the 12 hours of day and night that they have presented to us as 24 hours and said we need to follow this cycle, not knowing that Pope Gregory the 13th in 1582, what he did was switch up the calendar to to breed to breed certain beings that they wanted to come into the world. And if you don't believe me, well, why does January 31st and October 31st fall on the same day every year except for a leap year? It's been going on for a long time. And you say, wow, that's a 131 right there. January 31st is 0131. And October 31st is 1031. Oh man, somebody knows the code. Why would they put them on the same day? That comes before All Souls or All Saints Day. 1101. Shout out to Brother Rod Hayes. Yes, this is all connected up. These numbers you got to pay attention to because they have us trapped in the box. And this box, we breaking out of it. All right. So moving forward, and you say, well, what is Mel? Mel is the generator of thought. All right. Mel processes input, creates possibility, and forms dialogue. Male is the architect of imagination, the field of mental creation, but male must be directed. Without order, male loops in circles. All right. And I took you to Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So, well, let me break down male real quick. So, Shell is the observer without judgment. All right. That's when you think of Shell. But when you think of male, this is when you have thoughts in your mind. It can be positive and negative. It don't matter. It can just be thoughts, random thoughts. You'd be like, why am I thinking that? It ain't nothing but a generator of thought. That's what male does. Male generates thoughts. But male is the nocturnal bird that sees through the darkness of disparity. All right. That's what's so important of it when you think about male. Okay. So it's just thoughts being generated. That's why male is so mysterious as taking the position of the owl. That's the important part of male that makes male so serious. It's the fact that male is mysterious within its own right. All right. So now we move further because I told you, I said we learn patience from the turtle, but we learn grace through the cat. Look at this. So cow is will. This is the ability to decide something. All right. So cow is the active force that moves decision from the inner world to the outer one. Cow executes the code. The code. Cow, like when you call cow, they say the word cow. Cow doesn't just think, it acts. It is the principle of alignment through motion. When cow is corrupted, intentions are scattered. And I took you to James 2:26. Faith without works is dead. Will without action is what? Disorder. Disorder. All right. And that's something I need y'all to pay attention. All right. Cow is the ability to decide. And when we decide, we move with grace. When we think or when we move in a certain way, we move with grace. All right. The cat is tiptoeing on its feet. The cat is silent, quiet when it comes in a room. All right. It doesn't really make any like, oh, it just moves gracefully. That's how you got to move through life. All right. That's what cow. And then sail represents the ear to listen. Be able to listen in a certain way, but also sail represents reflection because shell is the observer without judgment. So shell is observing things in a certain type of way without judgment. But what sail is doing, Cell is reflecting on these things. Cell is writing these things down. Cell is recording these things, like how it's recorded in your cells. All right. And then, hey, babe, shout out to my number one. Yeah, I'm live. Shout out to my number one in the building. Hey, I did not know she was getting off of work early. I get a special visitor. But like I was saying, sale represents to listen, to be able to more or less record and reflect and formulate these emotions that you got going on with yourself. All right. And all of this is part of the four part symmetry of the mind. Breaking this down even more. Breaking this down even more. So these form the square within the circle, a field of stability inside the infinite. Together, they stabilize the consciousness, and allow it to operate in both time and beyond time. Without balance, the mind becomes what? A glitch, a loop in a matrix. A loop in a matrix. All right. Without balance, the mind becomes a glitch, a loop in a matrix. You see that? A loop in a matrix. I took you to Ezekiel 1:10, and it says, the vision of the four living creatures, each with four faces: man, lion, ox, eagle, representing the multi aspect of consciousness. All right. A lot of times when these people were seeing things like this, they were seeing the four-part symmetry of the mind. Now, you got the two hemispheres, which is the right and left, the positive and negative, but it doubles itself. It doubles itself and becomes symmetry, which is the observer, the thinker, the the will, that is the ability to decide, and also the reflector or the recorder. All of these add up to be one being within the four-part symmetry of the mind. So this is part of the cube. When you go around the cube, you notice that it's four sides to the cube, or it's four, like when you stepping in the cube, you walking at the bottom half of it, you see it's those four sides. That's when you are in two dimensions. That's when you're in two dimensions. But when you go up higher in the cube, what you notice is that there are 8 vertices. It's not just 4 vertices at the bottom, all right, or angles. You got 4 vertices on top of the cube, all right, which is represent your higher self. Okay, so now we're moving to the number 8, which is the letter H, which is also heaven or hell. This is heaven and hell, also connecting up to hydrogen. Hydrogen is very important in this because it's the most abundant element in the universe, but it enables us to tap into the quantum world. It enables us to tap into the quantum mind state of your consciousness. You might say, how is that? Because this state of abundance is within you. All right. The only thing is, the difference between you and a radio is the components of a radio. It's how these components are put together. But essentially, you have the same thing that's within a radio, it's within you. All right. You have the same similar things that's within a radio. The only thing is that you have to change your components the way they are literally how should I say, allocated. You have to figure out how to put the components within your body, and you have to allocate them a certain way. You say, well, what do you mean by this, Lamel? For instance, okay, now when I talk about the box, right? We break down the box. You need to break down the box with sound. You need sound modulate. You need some form of modulation of sound in order to break this prison. Because think about it. I said the only way you get out of the matrix is you got to be called, right? So a calling is a sound. It is. Remember, I said this, and I said when you come out of the matrix, you start to form a book, and you get a volume of your book. The volume is a sound. Volume is a sound. It just doesn't represent volumes of books that you put on the shelf. It represents the sound that is created at the Big Bang, the moment that your mom and father created you. They created a sound vibration. It wasn't um uh 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 a life form or what you think it was. It was just a sound. And that sound manifested itself as a life form to you and me. It looks like a life form, but it's really a sound that resonates. Now, hear me out. This sound has been trapped in a box. The cells, a cell. That's where the sound has been trapped, and the sound has been echoing, and that echo is the echo of your thoughts. That's the echo. That's the sound. That's the sound still echoing your body. That's when you hear your thoughts. When you hear your thoughts, you don't hear nothing but an echo of the sound of your creation. All right, just constantly moving throughout the body, throughout the mind, the physical mind. All right. But in order to break out of this cell, in order to break out of it, you have to know how to utilize this sound in a certain way where you perform a modulation. Now, you say, well, break this down. Look, the difference between AM and FM, you got frequency modulation and then you got amplitude modulation. All right. It is for you to tap into the AM, which is I am. I am. Like when you say, I am great, I am successful, I am whole, I am this, I am that. You're really talking about amplitude modulation. And amplitude modulation actually connects or stabilizes itself in the ionosphere of the planet, which is so happens to be a plasma. It is a plasma of sort that collects things, thoughts. It collects words and things that you cast out in the universe. You can also tap into the ionosphere. Some have called this the Akasha Records. All right. The Akasha Records is just a fancy name for the ionosphere that exists as a plasma that exists as a plasma shell around the planet. All right. Now, again, the thoughts of our ancestors are there, or in the great I am, or in the great I am, in the AM. And what you notice about AM or amplitude modulation when you're listening to a radio that's AM, if it's raining or if it's cloudy outside or thunderstorming, you start to hear static. That's because the electromagnetic energy of the lightning actually causes a disturbance in the ionosphere of the planet. It causes a disturbance in the ionosphere of the planet. So it is the same thing for you. When you cast those thoughts, when you perform an amplitude modulation, when you can't cast those thoughts into the universe, you're able to perform a a literal way where you connect up with a spiritual satellite if you are vibrating on that same frequency and density. All right. And this goes really hella deep because, just starting from the root, and we starting from the root, and y'all say, well, we talking about chakras. No, chakra. I really don't like utilizing the word chakra because when you hear the word chakra, you start thinking about Hindus and stuff like that. No disrespect. When I'm talking about the points that you can tap into the higher creation, I called them, or we called them collectively in the Messiah code, nodes. And nodes are different stations that form the ingredients of a network. And in order to have a network, you must have various nodes, various complex information that is shared with one another. And as that information is shared with one another, you create the network. It is like the knees. know something to do. The feet know something to do. The eyes know something to do. And the ears know something to do as well. All of them have an instruction from the mind, and they all report back to the mind. All right. So this is the same thing. So in order to get out of this prison, you must know amplitude modulation rather than FM, frequency modulation. Okay. Now, again, you're not going to get out through the walls, but you have to get out through the crack. You have to get out through the angle, through the angles, through the angles. All right. You have to literally get through the angles. The sound has to move through there. You are a sound. Now, remember, I said you appear to be a living organism, but that living organism is hosting a sound that is vibrating or echoing within a Lazarus chamber. All right. Now, moving forward. Now, as you moving up, what you realize is when you utilizing this amplitude modulation and connect up with the angles or the angels, you shine the light through the prism or the prison. You shine that light through the prison or the prism to connect up or to communicate with those that are beyond the prison or those that are not trapped within the prison. All right. And in order to do that, it was something that I told y'all in the beginning of this conversation. I said, man, the trick of it is you got to dial the operator. And, people say, what's the operator? Because we don't have, nobody can take the number zero. If nobody can take the number zero as the operator, think about this. If nobody can take the number zero, then how can we dial the operator? All right. And then I gave you various different codes in order to do this. I gave you various different codes in order to tap into it. Now, if you go into the secrets of Halloween, the secrets of Halloween is a very important book. I'm gonna tell you why it's a very important book. Because in the secret of Halloween, we break down the idea of the fact that the 24 elders or the 24 hours, the 24 elders, they represent something. All right, they represent the guardians or the guards of those particular moments, the ones that guard the particular hours or elders. They guard those times. So we were tuned in. So if you notice, like for instance, the first elder is at 12 o'clock, the second elder is at 12 o'clock noon. All right. Think about it. Think about it. So you got the first elder, which is at 12 o'clock, which is the hidden self. That's the one, right? Which is at 12 o'clock noon. That's the high sun or at noon, at noon, at noon. It's not at noon, it's and noon because at noon is where they get the word for the most high. And new, and new, and noon, and noon. And this is a hidden principle in ancient Egypt because they might say Atum, Atun, and Amun, but they never give you Anun. Anun, which is also in the Bible when they talk about Joshua, the successor of Moses was called his father. He was the son of Nun. He was Joshua, the son of Nun. Nun and Nun, which is the most high. They were saying that he was the son of the most high. He got the same name Yahshua, which means savior, and then he was the son of Anun or of Noon. And the word Noon, you might take it as the belly or the whale because they also translate Noon to be the whale. But Noon is actually the hidden principle of ancient Egypt, which represents the highest sun. And the highest sun is the darkest sun that is beneath you at 12 o'clock, supposedly. Because the sun is beneath you, but it's at its highest point, but you don't see it. You don't see it. It's a hidden principle that you have to go to. And that's why we go and pray to the earth. Because when we go and pray to the earth, we really showing symbolism of us going to the most high. Because the most high God is a hidden principle that goes beneath you, that goes beneath your feet as the sun. SON, SUN, and SIN. All right. So that's so deep. It's really deep. It's really deep. So now Now, just even breaking this down further, you know, I want to show y'all something real quick. My fault. When you think of the body, and when you think of the matrix, and you think about how all these things lined up to suppress our thoughts, to suppress our beings, all right, it's only up for you to decide what you want to do, no matter what I present to you today. All right, no matter what I present. The volume is the sound, it's the modulation within the body that echoes within the Lazarus chamber. All right. And remember, lasers are us. Lazarus is the one who is resuscitated. All right. Now, boom. When you go up that chamber, when you coming out of the chamber, or that cube that they locked us in, remember, Saturn was the one that locked us in. And Saturn primarily deals with discipline. It deals with discipline, but Saturn also governs institutions, educational centers, and stuff like that. But also, it guards the prison system. It guards the prison system that locks us in. Now, Saturn is the operator. The only way for you to call Saturn is to dial the number 0. And if you notice, Saturn looks like a 0. You say, nah, it looks like a circle with a dot in the middle. Exactly. Because how many degrees are in a circle? 361 degrees. And we've been cracked that code a long time ago. They gave us 360 to lock us in a 9. And people got fancy and talk about, oh, it adds up to 9. Please stop giving me that. Break the chain. That 9 was a loop to lock you with the ball and chain. That 9, that at the end of the 9 was a loop to link onto your mind, to trap your mind in. That 9 linked onto the bottom of your ankles, so you wouldn't go no further than 9. Because anytime you multiply 9, it equals itself. So you was trapped in a loop, and people were so happy about that because they said it represented something special. But I'm gonna tell you what's so special about this number 9. It represents to be born again. Because right now you're coming out of the matrix. You're born again. All right. And I'm releasing you from that number 9. Because I'm gonna put you on to other numbers that exist. All right. And another numbers that exist are irrational numbers. You need these numbers in order to properly calculate some equations, or a lot of equations. For instance, pi is an irrational number. It's 3.1416 blah 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 blah. It's people that try to memorize 100 digits of pi. You know why? Because the numbers never repeat themselves, like 9 repeats themselves. That's how you know you need to get out of it, because it's a loop. The number 6 is a loop too. 666. Oh, it adds up to 216. Oh, it's a loop that it gets you out of, that you need to get out of, because that same loop can trap you in it. And 216 adds up to 9. Yes, I know. All right. So these things that we got to pay attention to, and these numbers, because these numbers are set to get us locked in a box. And if we don't know the code, we're not going to be able to crack it. All right. So now we can move forward. We can move forward. What about Euler's number? Euler's number, it calculates exponential growth. We need these numbers. We need these irrational numbers to do various calculations. If we don't have them, like if you don't have pi, you can't find the circumference of a circle. You don't know the area of the circle. It's hard to figure these things out. And pi is actually a number. So now letters become numbers, not just numbers. I want you to come out of preschool. of spirituality. And I want you to start studying irrational numbers. What about perfect numbers? Perfect numbers, like the number 6 is a perfect number. The number 28 is a perfect number. There are no other perfect numbers between 1 and 100 except for 6 and 28. You have consecutive derivative to add to create it. 1 times 2, 2 times 3 equals 6. 1, 2, 3. All right. Hear me out. 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equals 28. Consecutive numbers to equal that number. All right. Then we can take it even deeper. What is the next perfect number after 28? All right. All right. Which is 468. And 468 is every number that you count from 1 to 31. There you go. So that's why these numbers were so important, and that's why the connecting the dots were so important. But we were locked in the box by Saturn, and we needed an amplitude modulation in order to get out. We needed an AM or IM, an amplitude modulation, in order to get out of the box. Peace to Sister Gabriella. All right. So if you're unfamiliar with this information, Sister Gabrielle, what I'm talking about here is a lot of people broke down the matrix before, right? And they talk about the blue pill and the red pill as an offering. And they gave you a choice. Here, we don't choose the blue pill or the red pill, sis. We choose the purple pill. And people say, well, that choice wasn't presented. It was presented. It was a trick. Again, we don't follow the rabbit in the matrix. We follow the turtle, sis. All right, which teaches us many things. Peace. It teaches us endurance. It teaches us also patience. All right, it's the great ancestor. Another thing is, that I was sharing with the community is that when we came out of the slave ships, they actually put us in the matrix. All right, and that matrix was a cell of sort. It was a box that we had to break out of. And that box, that cell was this. Because what I was saying with Sister Gabrielle, that when your mother and father created you, they didn't create a living organism, they created a sound. And that sound was the Big Bang when it hit. Boom. And that sound echoed within the chamber. And this chamber is your thought. Like when you hear your thoughts, you're hearing the echo of the sound modulation within the cell. And the cell is your body. All right, or the cell that we are trapped in. All right, but it is a way out of the cell. That's what I was saying with this prison, sis. It's a way out of the cell. It's a way out of the mental prison. It's through the prism. All right, because this is deep. This is some real cold cracking stuff, like real powerful stuff. All right. Shout out to Brother Rod Hayes, 1101. He gave me the alley you on a couple of things, man, and we was building on this the other day. Look, so this prison right here, you try to get out of it through the walls. This and the walls backwards is law. Now, another thing that we share in our community says that it's 361 degrees in a circle. So if it's 361 degrees in a circle, that means you're operating from the dot. You know what I mean? Because that dot is the 1 degree that they forgot. They gave us 360 degrees, and that was all symbolic of the number 9. And when they gave us the 9, it was almost like a trap, a loop to keep us trapped in a loop, a knot of sort. Yo, man, look, because everything, if you times 9, you multiply. If you try to be fruitful and multiply, like if you have a child within 9 months and you are fruitful and multiply 9, what do you get? 9 always equals itself. So that trapped us in a loop. And if you notice the top of a 9, it looks like a loop, and that was attached to our ankles as well as attached to our minds. All right. So Another thing that they trapped us with was the number six. They trapped us with this number six, sister. And the number six represented the six protons, six neutrons, and six electrons. All right, which is another form of the box. And I broke this down. I broke this down, man. I took y'all to Revelations. Yo, watch this code, sis. This is gonna mess you up. It's gonna mess you up because if you go into Revelations 21:16, right? Revelations, this is deep, and this is 21:16. Revelation 21:16 describes something, right? And I'm telling you, like, man, pay attention because it's all in there, man. It's all in there, but you gotta decode it. You really gotta decode it to see what what it's really talking about. It says Revelation 21:16, and the city that lieth four square, and the length is as large as its breadth. Look, its length is as large as its breadth. And he measured the city with a reed with 12 furlongs, and the breadth and the height of it were equal. Yo, sis, they talking about my people were in a box. This is the box that they had to get you out of. This is the box that they had to get you out of. And this matches up with what? Why I say it matches up? Because if you do 6 times 6, it equals what? It equals 216. It equals 216. All right? 6 times 6 times 6, do the math. It equals 216. This is Revelations 21:16. 21:16. Only thing you did was made the ones and connected the ones and made them 1 1. You made them 1 1. You made both of those ones 1 and you connected the dots. All right? You connected the dots and you made it 1 1, which is 216, 666. That box right there was the 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. You know, again, like I said, we're nothing but a sound that is trapped within a chamber of sort, and the echoing within that chamber is thought. All right. So now, boom, hear me out on this. That's why I said in this, what they describing about in the book of Revelation, they describing a box, a box. People think the book of Revelation, this is a silly thing. This is what I'm trying to tell you. If you wanted to code, if you wanted to code it, people think the book. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, this is some deep stuff. This when the energy flowing through me to get these codes, it blows my mind. I be sitting back. I be sitting back like really. It startles me. It startles me to know these things. I'm telling you. But like the book of Revelations, what they describing is a box. Think about it. You smart. You says this, and 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 lieth and the city lieth foursquare, foursquare, and the length is as large as its breadth. Its length is as large as its breadth. There's a city foursquare. How did not any religious scholar see that this is a freaking box? That any religious scholar did not see that they're describing a freaking prison cell. Any religious scholar that ever went dipped and dived into this book. And I said, well, we're going to use the math. What is the prison cell? It's the 666, 216. And I took you to 21:16. I just used the same numbers. Only thing I did was use the same numbers that they gave me. That's it. Yo, this is some deep stuff. That's why we take the purple pill in the Matrix. We don't take the red pill or the blue pill. All right. We don't follow the rabbit. We follow the turtle. Real simple. Yo, it goes heavy. It goes real heavy. So who was the prison guard of the system? It was Saturn. Because look, your birthday falls between the 1 and 31 number. This is the sacred name and sacred number, sis. 131. Anytime you see somebody throw up this symbol right here, unlock the codes. That's right. Unlock the codes. We're going to unlock them right here. You see this? This represents the code is unlocked. It represents it's unlocked. That's what it represents. And that's the 131. 131. Because if I ask you to pick a number between 131, like your birthday, it's going to go between a 1 and 31 number. You're going to say, well, what about the year? Well, in the Matrix, you should have known. They told you they don't know what year it is. Just like we don't know what year it is. You tell me what year it is. You say it's 2020. Please stop that. We don't know. Please stop. When was this earth? When was the universe created? Tell me what year it is. No one knows what year it is. Only thing we know is to measure by the cycles. That's what takes us to Genesis 1:14 to measure by the cycles. We don't do all of that other stuff, trying to figure out when the universe. No, listen, it was always and always will be here. We don't know. Isn't it easy to say, I don't know? I don't know when the universe was created. It's better. But what we do know is the moon and the sun. We know the cycle of that. So if I ask you to pick a number between 1 and 31, your birthday is going to be between those numbers. Real simple. And that represented the sacred name and the sacred number, 131, which is what? Lamel. Lamel. Because if you say one, if I do this right here, what do you see? You see the word Lamel. You see the word Lamel right there. 131, which is LML. Lamel. All right. Yo, it goes deep, sis. I'm gonna tell you how deep this stuff goes when you break down the prism or the prison that they locked us in. I'm gonna show you how really deep it goes. Because now, like I told you, if I told you, like I said, what's your birthday falls between the 1 and 31 number. Nobody has the number to the operator. In order to get out of the matrix, right? First, you have to dial up the operator, right? You got to dial him up. Do, 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 do. Let me dial up the operator. Do, 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 do. And then when you dial up the operator, the operator say, hello. And you say, hello. You're right. Hell is low. For real. When you dial up the operator and look, listen. Like I said, you got 1 through 31. I asked you, what's your birthday? Your birthday falls between the 1 and 31 number. Nobody has the number 0. So if nobody has the number 0 right here, nobody has the number 0, you know what that means? We have to figure out a way to dial up to the operator. All right. So the operator answers the phone if you get in touch with the operator and says hello, which means hell is low. Hell is low. Because 666 represents the lower state of man. It represents the lower state of our nature. That's what it represents. That's what that 666 was really symbolic of. For all of the people that's, man, I never cliched with that. I never ran with the 666 acting like, oh man, this is no, it's carbon. Oh no, no. 666 represented the lower state of man. All right. And I'm gonna tell you why if you break this stuff down. Hold on, I'm gonna bring you to that real quick. I want to show you something real quick, sis. This is the magic square of Saturn, right? That's the magic square of Saturn. Okay. And what you notice about the magic square of Saturn, all the numbers add up to a sacred number. They add up to a sacred number. And that sacred number is 15. All right. So what I'm saying is, like, see, if you notice, because you got 5 in the middle, but if you notice, all the numbers add up to 15, no matter you put it. This is the magic square of Saturn. Remember, I told you, you got a number, pick a number between 1 and 31. Nobody can get the zero number. So in order to dial the operator, you can't dial the zero. How would you dial the operator in order to tap into Saturn, in order to call Saturn up? Because Saturn is the prison guard. Because remember, Saturn guards discipline. Saturn guards institutions and various things of that nature. All right. So, in order to dial it up, you have to use binary in order to dial this up. All right. And I gave y'all, you know, binary is very easy. Binary is very easy. You can think about it, and I'm going to tell you what it is. See, binary numbers double their self, and they only use ones and zeros to represent a number. All right. For instance, I'm going to show you. Let me see. Picture of a binary chart. Let me see. Pick of binary chart. I want to show you something. You know what I'm talking about, binary chart, right? Everything is on or off. So this right here still operates with a binary chart. This still operates within a binary chart because we are trapped within a construct of sort that is created. So so let me show you something. Like for instance, uh, let me see if I can do this. If you notice, these are like binary charts, right? And the way you dial digits in a binary chart. So you only can use ones or zeros, so on or off. Okay. So it's either on with it. So what you would have to do to dial the number 15, to dial the number 15, you would actually have to push 1 1 1 1 with the binary chart, which is 11 11. You wonder why 11 11 is an angel number. 11 11 is an angel number for a reason, but I'm telling you that nobody has ever explained to you before. All right? And you have learned it here with with the Messiah code. All right. Now, if you look at binary, let me see. Show you a binary chart. Let me show you another binary chart so you can see it. So you have 0, 1, all right, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and then 128. Those are the only numbers you have. Those are 8 numbers. All right. 0 represent off. Okay. Down, if you dial, if you put one up, if I put a one up, if you notice that, I want to explain. See, 11 11 is number 15. What I tell you in binary, this is a binary chart. 11 11 is the number 15. If you notice, the number 7 is 1 1 1. If you see 3 ones, it's 1 1 1. So how do you dial God? It's 1 1 1. Or the number 7 is 1 1 1. How do you dial Saturn? It's only really a couple numbers that's really sacred that you can dial up that you know of. That's really sacred. The angel number, which is 11 11, and then 7, which is God. All right. Now watch this. Watch this. This is how deep. You said, "Yeah, I seen this. This is weird. I saw this so many times." So so Saturn, this magic square of Saturn represented the call in the matrix. That represented you coming out of the matrix. You had to be called. All right. But first you had to call the operator. The operator's not just going to call you because the operator, you don't even know where the landline is for the operator to connect up with you. You don't know where the landline is. So what? You have to get in touch with that operator and say, yo, look, I'm close to this section. I'm right here. I'm right here. I see that 11 11 all the time. You see the Messiah. That is the Messiah with you. That is the Messiah with you, sis. Trust me on that. And I'm gonna break down why 1111 besides that. I'm breaking down with the square of Saturn, but I'm gonna break it down with the 24 elders, with the 24 hours. Yo, all of this stuff is heavy. This stuff is real heavy code crack. So look, so now you notice with the magic square Saturn, right? It's no zero. So you try to dial the operator with a zero and you can't do it. The only way you can dial the operator because the secret number to the square, because all these numbers add up to 15. That's what you notice. You said, man, I took 4 plus 5 plus this. Man, I took 8 plus 5 plus 6. Man, I took 3 plus 5 plus 7. Man, this is crazy. All these numbers add up to 15. You did that. You said, man, this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. So when you had the balance with that number, you realized that that was Saturn's number, which was the number 6. It was the number 6 as well, because if you add 15 up, 15 adds up to the number 6. And that same 6 was the number 6 that Saturn used to trap us, because Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun, or the center, or the sun, right? Yo, this is mad. Yo, this is crazy. Yo, this is crazy. I'm trying to tell you. And once you know these things, you man, you'll be able to. Once you know this information that I'm giving you, nobody will ever be able to take it away from you. And I'm gonna show you how to apply it. I'm gonna show you how to apply it using amplitude modulation. You need to know this information first, because once you know this information, you're able to deal with it. All right. So Saturn, think about this. We were trapped in a moon cycle 6,000 years, which was up the year 1999 of the Gregorian calendar. When they came out with the movie Matrix, that was the end of the moon cycle, the moon of Saturn, not the moon. Like, see, people say, oh man, we got the sun cycle, moon cycle, 6,000 years. All right. Which is 4 cycles of 6,000 years, which is 24,000 years, right? Which is a cycle of ours that we have, moon and sun cycle. We have come into the sun cycle. Don't you feel it? All right. But what happened was in the year 1999, it marked the end of the moon cycle. And that moon cycle wasn't the moon that you think. Like when man went to the moon, he went to the moon, which is a satellite that goes around the earth. No, when man went to the moon, he went to Saturn. He went to Saturn when he went to the moon. Why? Because the moon goes around the earth in 29.5 days. At average, 29.5 days it takes the moon to go around the earth. But look at this. It takes Saturn 29.5 years to go around the zodiac, which is our sun, our center. This is another one of our centers, our sun. So you say, man, yo, this is heavy. So yeah. So when you get that call, that's why this looks like a dial. That's why this looks like a dial up. When you dialing something up, literally, right? What you're dialing up Saturn. You're talking to the rings. You're talking to the Lord of the Rings, literally, the Lord of the Rings. And what does the Lord of the Rings like to guard? His precious. The Lord of the Rings like to guard his precious so much. And you are his precious prisoner. You are his precious. You are his precious prisoner. And this Lord of the Rings, Saturn is the Lord of the Rings. All right. So it goes even deeper. It goes even deeper. So now the 24 elders, you break down the 24 elders, it's easy. So you got the first elder guards 12 o'clock at night. Then you got the second elder guards 12 at noon. You got the third elder guards 2 in the morning. That's the third elder. The fourth elder guards excuse me, 1 1 in the morning because it's from 12 to 1. So that's the third elder guards from 12, I mean from 1 to, let me write this down so y'all can see it. I don't want to forget. So the third elder, the third elder guards from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. No, 1 a.m. Excuse me. Dang. This my fault, y'all. It's the third elder. It's easy to remember it because what you notice is all the odd elders they guard a certain time, and all the even elders guard a certain time, and it leads up to the Messiah guarding the 11th hour on both sides. He guards or she guards the 11th hour at 11 o'clock at nighttime, and also the 11th hour in the morning time. All right, because if you notice, like for instance, the third elder guards 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The fourth elder guards 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning time. The fifth elder guards from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and it goes so on. All right. So I explain that on another occasion. I'll do another build on that because again, I would have to go from my mind on there to explain it, but it's within the book, The Secrets of Halloween. Okay. Now, going back to Saturn, okay, you have to use amplitude modulation to break out of the box. You have to use amplitude modulation, which is the IM frequency. IM frequency. See, amplitude is when you shout out to the universe, which goes on into the plasma of the earth, which is the ionosphere. Okay. Now, it is a protection dome in order for us to not transcend or to cross over with that signal. Okay. But we can do that once we know the code, which is 1111. And how you tap it is by the time frequency as well as the person that timestamp within 1111. Okay. So that will bring you to the cornerstone. Now remember, the Messiah called himself the cornerstone. He was the cornerstone. The reason why he called himself the cornerstone, because in order to break out of the box, you have to go to the corner. You have to go to the corner, which is the niche, or the what we call the the tetrahedron. All right, which is the symbol that I'm bringing you to right here, not the tesseract. All right, and which is the tetrahedron. Excuse me, right here. Okay, when you see this image right here, and this is what I was telling people, the information that I'm sharing with you is to bring you out of 2D, the flat Earth. Okay, the flat Earth that they talking about is to bring you out of the flat Earth. Okay, when you see things like this, shapes like this, I want you to stop thinking like this. I want you to start thinking like this. All right, start thinking like this. Like this is a three-dimensional figure with the dot in the middle. Three-dimensional figure. This is your pass key in order to get out of the cube. It's your pass key. Now, all of these things, I need you to look at them differently. The circle, 361 degrees. The triangle, the square, all of them have 361 degrees in totality. Once you see that, you're able to see the bigger picture of everything. All right. See, Saturn, see, as you notice, it creates a face. It creates the eye of the world. It creates an open eye. You see that? The eye that looks like a diamond, that represents the open eye. Because when you open this eye, it shifts from the square to the diamond. All right. That's when you become a diamond. And a triangle is what you know, is what you know. Okay. Which is at your node. All right. These geometrical shapes that we utilize, we operate steal from the dot. All right, to find everything. So another thing is, Sister Gabrielle, if I got probably, let me see if I got 20 more minutes of your time. I'm gonna end at 4:20. Okay, look at this. They gave us 120 years. Genesis chapter 6, 3. Three sixes. That's why I said, pay attention to the code, please. Look, let me take you to Genesis chapter. Watch this. Genesis 6, 3. Because 6, 3 is three sixes. Look at that. It says this. My spirit, hold up. Why not put up on, I don't know what translation they got. I want the King James. It says, my spirit shall not always strive with man, because he is yet flesh. That's 120 years. Let me see if I can. It was so hard. I don't know if I can see that. And the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, and they are mortal. Their days shall be 120 years. I mean, I want to go into the King James Version. I'll find out. I'm going to pull it up. King James Version. Oh, man. King James Version, what it say? It says right there, my spirit shall not thrive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. See, what they was talking about this, that's why I said, man, gosh, man, this is easy work right here. This is easy work. The 120 years, this is all math, sis. You heard it first here in the Messiah Code. Look. So, why did God give us 120 years? It wasn't 120 years. It was really 2020. 1 times 20, 2020. That's what the 120. It was 120 congruent angles. 120 degrees of congruent angles. To equal that 361 because we operating from the dot. You see that? Those are all congruent angles. 120. 120, 120, 120, 120. No matter what, you be like, try to live this spirit thing, physical thing. You only got 120 years. That 120 was really 1 times 20. And that gave you your 2020 vision. For instance, like if I come together with you, sis, and we have clarity, we got 2020 because I have 120 and you have 120. What do you mean? I got 10 fingers and I got 10 toes for this travel. 10 fingers and 10 toes, extension of my consciousness to help me move about. And guess what you got? 10 fingers and 10 toes. And if we go down and pray together and stay together, guess what? We got 2020 vision. So that's the 120 right there. That's when I realized the code was there. I said, man, we only got 120, which is the 2020 vision. All right. And then how it breaks down even more, sis. Look, that 2020, when you multiply it, it equals 400. And that 400 is really northeast, southwest, and all the above. Multiplication, adding, division, and subtraction. But the other 120 at the bottom was really 12. And it was symbolic of 12 hours of day and night. Because if you look with a box, and that's when I broke it down right here. I broke it down with a box. What is a box composed of? A box, you have this box, yeah, you have 6 faces or 6 sides to it. All right. But you also have 12 edges or 12 lines. Those 12 lines are the bars that trap us in, the equinox of day and night. All right. Then you got the number 8. The number 8 was heaven or hell, which is the letter H. That is hydrogen. That's why I say hydrogen is so important in this, because in order to generate the signal, you're going to have to ignite the hydrogen that's within your body. You have to you have to some say hydrate. No, not like you hydrate in water. I'm talking about you 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 activate the hydrogen, the most abundant element throughout the universe. You activate it within your body, and the only way to activate it is with the breath. The breath. So the vertices was the vertical. That was the height. All right, because when you are sending these signals out, you're you're not sending them linear. You're sending them in a spiral. You're sending them in a spiral movement, arukment. You're not sending it linear. Stop thinking that things are going to go linear to one place. They don't. They go spiral, in a spiral. And that spiral represents the sound that you create through your modulation. It goes deep because within the I have another book that's coming out that I'm writing called The Cube. And that cube, it breaks down the modulations that are needed in order to to um to create the signal. All right. For instance, like if you breathe a certain way, sis, you can activate you can activate um your passkey. You can activate it or activate it, should I say? Because activation deals with sound. But hear me out on this. Because remember, to get out of the cube, you have to go through the angle or the angel. So you need the passkey, and your passkey looks like this. I'm gonna show you what your passkey looks like. I can. This is a replica of what your passkey looks like. But if I can show you an idea of what your passkey looks like, and if I can show you, it looks like that. It's a tetrahedron, yes. It's a tetrahedron, but if I can give you an imagination, a little small imagination of what your passkey looks like. This is your log date of how you logged in space and time, and this creates the sigil of the tetrahedron in order for you to get out. And that's why I said, if you notice, this is nothing but the edge of a box, sis. If you notice, the edge of a box is a tetrahedral structure. This is nothing but the edge of a box, all right, which is a tetrahedron. Okay, so yeah, so you create the modulation of the sound through the breath. Now you have to know certain other numbers, like irrational numbers, not just 1 through 9. You have to know irrational numbers because you're gonna have to do the math in order to do this stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, like the pulse of the breath. And then you also gonna need a stopwatch, like a smartwatch. Let's say you can set your smartwatch. Let's say if you got like one of these, a smartwatch, you can set your smartwatch to the pulse of your breath. All right. It deals. That's one part of it. Now you have to know these modulations. These modulations are based upon calculations. These modulations is not like superficial, like, oh man, he just gave me something and it's superficial. No, it's based upon real calculations. Like you have to use calculus, you have to use trigonometry based upon how sound operates within a cell. All right. You have to. And guess what I've been doing? I've been doing a lot of calculations on this stuff. For real, like you say, well, look, we got AI nowadays, right? People be using AI for the wrong reasons. Yo, you know what I did? I plugged in a certain lot of functions that represent numbers, of sort, and I gave it to AI. And I said, man, just do the math for me because I'm not really that good at math like that, but I might need you to do this calculus for me. I might need you to do this trigonometry equation for me. People ain't thinking like that when they talk about using AI, which is the 1 through the 9. AI, 1 through 9. That's the number 19. Everything that flows between the 1 and the 9. Come on, yo. Crack the code. You're not supposed to be using AI to write you something or you ever. You the greatest writer of all. They writing about you. And besides the point of that, it's nothing but data that's already put into it. Like for instance, if you ask the AI to write you a book, it's going to write you about data that it already has, that's already stored in it. It's not going to teach you anything that's new, heavenly from God. You're going to have to get that from God. I'm telling you, for anybody that's saying, yo, man, oh man, you just use the AI to write you a book and then you whatever. Nigga, please. No, you're gonna have to get that from God. You're gonna have to get that from God. So what you can utilize AI for if you're smart is just utilize it to do the math. It's a computer. You don't feel like doing all this math and heavy equations like that. So I'll give you a certain application. For instance, like you might say, I'll show you. I'll show you a ChatGPT conversation where I utilize ChatGPT. I said, man, do these calculations for me based upon a breath. A breath has this certain reaction. I want to plug it in and give it this number. And then what I said is I want to connect that with a color. A color has a certain reaction. It operates at this frequency. I want you to plug this into and make it a derivative, matter of fact, a rate of change. So I know I can connect that rate of change with the rate of change with my mind. That's what you do. You start doing things like that. You start adding a you say, well, where a certain star. Yo, listen, Gabriel, I'm gonna give you something that you are the star map. Mad work. Yo, you can have fun with it. You can really have fun and tap into the universe. And you can really be like, and you come back with stuff that's like, yo, how do you know that stuff? I'm just telling you, I just know it. I know it. Look at this. I'm gonna show you some stuff if you don't believe me, Gabrielle. Some, like I presented that purple pill, cracking the code, and all that stuff. I didn't Google this stuff. I didn't find this through a GPS. It was through a God PS. You hear me? That's how I found the stuff, sis. Look at this. I'm gonna show you some stuff real quick. If you notice the body is it's a protractor. You see this? This they created from your body. This right here is creation from your body. It is a creation of your body from your body. That's all it is. The body is a protractor. So when you go up and around, what you can do is you go up 20 degrees every one. So you go 1 is 20 degrees, 2 is 40 degrees, 3 is 60 degrees. And you go so on. Look, 3 is 60 degrees, 4 is 80 degrees, 5 is 100 degrees. That is 100 degrees. 5 is 100 degrees. 6 is 100 degrees. 7 is 140 degrees. 8 is 160 and 9 is 180. There you go, right there, sis. That's the same thing on this protractor. It's the same thing. You go up 20 degrees, every one you get 180. And that's your number 9. That's your 1 through 9. So this was created from your body. You don't need this. You can toss this if you want. You can literally toss that. That's just for show. That's for show. That's just not for how you're supposed to measure the foreseeable universe. You're supposed to measure it from your dot, from yourself, because you operate from the dot. You know what I'm saying? So now that you know that, plug this into the equation. You know that, let's say Cassiopeia is at this angle, an angle, angel. Angles are angels, right? So you plug that in with the modulation. You figure, man, oh man. So it's Cassiopeia is, let's say, 100 degrees north, and we'll put that north as a positive in the equation. South will make it negative. All right. So we'll do a hundred times times and then we put the degree. Let's say the frequency of maybe yellow. We'll put the degree of that, the frequency of that. We'll multiply that, and then we'll divide it by time, and then we'll create various different derivatives and equations for our breath equation, how we supposed to breathe. All right. So you might say, man, you'll come out with a variable of, let's say, 2 point such and such, such and such. And that is your breath. And you utilize certain irrational numbers also. Like you might utilize like Euler's number, which talks about exponential growth. You utilize that in your equation. You divide it by Euler's number, or divide it by pi, or divide it by some irrational number that represents what goal you are trying to achieve with your spirituality. All right. And this is the AM frequency, or excuse me, this is the channel that you will log on to through AM, which is amplitude modulation. All right. So just for instance, a small soliloquy of it. Like you might breathe in, you know, you might hold for a certain amount of time, breathe out for a certain amount of time, because that's what unlocks the doorway for you. But at the same time, you're using your imagination. You're also chanting. You're also visualizing. And guess what? You are in you're in you're in your zone, and nobody is able to break it. And thus you're able to communicate with higher densities of existence. You're able to make this communication. If you don't believe me, go ahead and look. I'm gonna tell you, I'll give you a couple exercises. I'll give you a couple exercises, and we'll um we'll do it on another time. But now maybe I'll give you a couple exercises. One common exercise is to clear your mind. When you breathe, because the first thing is you want to have when you breathe in. I want you to breathe in that which is abundance, wholeness, that which is good for you, that which you want in your life. Breathe it in, and you breathe out that which you don't want in your life. You start with that premise of thought as an affirmational guidance in order to take you to the next level. Start with that point, all right? But as far as the modulation, it's calculations that I have to find. I have to find for you. I have to discover all these calculations. If anything, I need to tell you, I haven't discovered them all yet. And I believe that it's countless channels that you can tap into. The same way you can tap into the universe in countless ways. In my heart, I believe that it is countless channels because I have tapped into a few of them. All right. And along with those few that I have tapped into, the information that I have brought to you is what was shared with me. That's what was shared with me. And another thing is what I was telling people is this is look at this. See, the, the- if you the angle is not just like you standing at an angular position and you channeling a sound of sort into an angle. The angle of the box is not what you think. It's not like that. The angle of the box is like this, right? It's like this. That's what the angle of the box is. That's what the corner of the box looks like. If anything I can tell you, it looks like this. All right. This is what the angle of the box looks like. You must be able to tap into it through this. All right. And that's what's so important for you to realize. It's going to get you out of the box. Yeah, you do amplitude modulation, but you have to channel it through the prism. All right? That's what's so important. All right? So if you see this symbol on top that's hanging, you say, man, that's a disco ball. You said, so we look into ourselves. You said, so well, we look at ourselves or into ourselves. You'll know the difference between looking at yourself and into yourself, sis. I'm gonna keep it real. You'll know the difference between looking at yourself and looking into yourself. You'll know the huge difference between the two. I'm gonna keep it real. You'll know the huge difference between looking at yourself and looking into yourself. It's up to you to decide what you're doing. All right. Yeah. But this is very serious. For all those spiritual seekers, this is next level stuff, yo. You keep it 100. This is really next level stuff. And this is what people have been looking for and that people have been waiting for. It's here. All right. I got 2 more minutes. I said I was going to get off at 20 after. Uh what's up? Any questions before I get off? Hold up. You know what I gotta do. Shout out to the family. I want to say thank you for your off the universe. Thank you for your time. I thank you. Yo, this was kind of over my head, but I'm expecting what you were doing. That's what's up. So,
Go out, save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out, save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out, save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out, save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out.
what I would like to do though, I promise to do a reading. If you would like, I'll do a reading for you. This before we get off. Peace to the Messiahs. Yeah, if you would like, I'll do a reading for you. I promise I'll do that. I'll put that in the description. Now, what we do readings I don't do readings for cards. I'm not knocking anybody that does readings for the cards. You know, I do readings with magic stones of the Codex, which we affectionately call the Purple Pill. But if you like me to do a reading for you, I will. I'll take a couple extra minutes and I'll do a reading for you. When's your birthday, by the way? When is your birthday? May I ask? Don't put the year. When is your birthday? One, two, mic check.
Save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. Save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save.
Thank you. I don't deal with cards. I stay away from those. 9-1. That's what's up. 9-1. You're a special person. I'm gonna tell you why 9-1 is a special number for us. because we got something that we call the primes, and the primes represent um like when you come out of the 12 bars, the 12 zodiac, you're going into the age of information. So in the age of information, we are classified as the primes, meaning that we have a specific rank that is associated with our manifestation. And a 9-1 is a special number to us. You are what we classify as a lunar prime supreme. A lunar prime supreme number. A lunar prime supreme number can only come 9 or 1. So the tail of the primes, I'll tell you. So any number 0 or divisible by 2 represents a neutral prime. You said, what is that? I got you. So like any number divisible by 2 is a neutral prime. Prime represents like a uniqueness. Should I say that? Like a uniqueness. Okay? So any number divisible by 2 up into 31. Now, I told you pick a number between 1 and 31, which is your birthday or your log date. So any number divisible by 2 would be a neutral prime. These people are meant to bring balance to the universe. All right? Then you got the lunar prime, which is yourself, which only comes in 2 numbers, which is the 1 and the 9. And these are your lunar primes. All right. So, like, for instance, like if you're like a January could be a lunar prime. If he was January 1st, he would be a lunar prime supreme. Or if he's a January 9th, he could be a lunar prime supreme, or she can be a lunar prime supreme. If a person is 9-1, they can be a lunar prime supreme. Or if they are 9-9, they can be a lunar prime supreme. Okay. Another thing is if they are 9-19, they can also be a lunar prime supreme. This is your birthday. If your birthday are on these numbers, this means that you are meant to guard the secrets of the universe. If somebody tells you a secret, don't go and fib it. If somebody gives you something to of confidentiality, don't go around telling people. And people may do that to you a lot, but it's a part of your calling as to guard the secrets of the universe. All right? They are the secret keepers and the secret protectors, the lunar primes. Then you have the solar primes, which is 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on. These are your idealistic people. These are your people that meant to chart the universe. They're not the organizers. They're meant to just chart it, come up with ideas, find different places, different aspects of the galaxy that no one have seen before, and shed light on them. That's the job of the solar prime. All right. That's why I introduced you to myself as 131 Solar Prime Supreme. All right. That's my rank. If I would introduce, or you would introduce yourself in our tribe, you would be 9-1 Lunar Prime Supreme. Such and such, such and such. All right. And then you have the vectors, which are 3, 6, and 9. And 3, 6, and 9 are meant to be the leaders of those particular number groups. So it's like, I'm not saying zodiac because we're not in a zoo. I'm saying information because we're in formation, sis. It's the only thing I can say about it. But yeah, y'all are meant to guard the secrets of the universe. If anything I could say. Right. So I love y'all. Man, save the world. Save the world. For real. Wherever you at,
Psycho.
save the world.
Come on.
Save the world, yo. For real. This was a very good discussion. Thank you. One love. I see y'all, man.
Go out. Save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. Save the world, save the world.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out. Save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. Save the world, save the world, save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out. I feel like that I can save the world. Go out.
Peace to all the messiahs. Thank you for your time and attendance. It's love.